All I can throw up is this right now.
Lights out.
Yeah,
I hit him, get
that's
with
all
him, his
that
lights
matters.
out.
You said you said what?
I'd have beat his brakes off.
God damn.
Lights out. Nah. Check. Was up at the college and holding it down. I see the loudest shit, don't make a sound. I stay with them soldiers and they all renowned. You stay with them clowns and they just around. Life of a war, your habits of form your decor. When that revealed, the man that you are, stand on Shamal. Understand this life from the battlefield. So I just get focused, it won't stop. Coming up, I'm trying to stay up. Shoot for the goal like a jump shot. I got no time for the layup. Figure that I should do what I love. I'm working for crackers and they want to pay me. You shucking and jiving and I'm on the move. I know that the devil when I say it daily. Talking about white folks with the red skins against black lives, and that's obvious cause they ominous. Still a whole world instead of they hit with George Washington. But 5 out of 10 of these niggas, they never open a book nor have tried to. You look like I guess you feel better being lied to. You should do it how I do. An intelligent thug that apply to. Was once in the hood with them packs in the pockets, but no.
You in live with the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. You understand? Captain Isupk, the state of Virginia. You understand? Getting into another episode of The Bible is Black. You understand? Of course, the Bible is Black, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are God's chosen people. When we talk about the Bible being Black, that is what we are referring to. All 12 tribes is Black. You understand? It's not hair texture, not skin color, not where you're from, the music you're listening to. You understand? The shape of your nose, your hair, your eye color, that has nothing to do with that. Those are silly titles and things that we learn to associate who we are as a people because the Christian church has failed to teach us our identity according to the Bible. Instead, they gave us Christianity and Catholicism, and what we didn't get from the church, we got from Islam, which is just another church for Black people, because it's not the same Islam that the actual Arabs are in, that does not include equality for all people, as they go in human traffic, all the dark-skinned people around the Arab territories. So that is not what it's about, you understand? But again, we are highlighting these things in the Bible to show Black culture, the way that we live, the things that we say and see on a regular day-to-day basis, to show that this Bible is talking about a specific race of people and that these things are for our people. So the Bible is Black, another episode. Today's episode, we're going to get into everybody is not my child. You understand? That's a very thing that you've heard this your entire life. You understand? Of course, if you are Black, Hispanic, or Native American, it is spiritual. It's written all over the Bible, but because of the Christian church and all the choir rehearsal and singing, and the fact that the only men that the Lord appointed to teach the Bible, I say men, because God does not allow a woman to lead a congregation or lead a body of believers or teach the Bible. The only men God set up to teach the Bible on this earth right now are the priests and prophets of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K. That means everyone everywhere else who appoints or calls themselves a teacher or teaching the Bible or some sort of religious leader over Black people is not appointed by God, and the Lord is not with them. No matter what you think or how you feel, you understand, it has not been fully revealed as of yet. That's why we keep saying it. And when it is revealed, Lord willing, that many brothers and sisters do not have to lose their lives like they always end up doing by not listening to the prophets of the Lord. So this episode of Everybody Not My Child, the Bible is Black. We're going to go to we're going to go to Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2. You hear these things a lot of times in the Bible and may not have any idea why it's written so many times over and over again, and just might look over it, just like many of us did, just like I did when I was in the Christian church growing up. You understand, another life ago, before I was woken up to the knowledge of the truth and completely changed my life from the lies that I had been taught in Christianity since I was born. The lies that my mother and father and brothers and sisters and everybody I've ever met in my entire life, Black, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, you understand, Haitian, so-called Afro or Native American, everybody I've ever met has believed these lies in their lives. That's why we highlight this series here to show that the Bible is Black, not all people, not melanated, specifically Black people, not Africans, not Arabs, not Moors, not all people, our people. Exodus 20 and 2 says, I am the Lord, thy God. Thy is possessive pronoun showing ownership. I'm not everybody's God. Everybody's not my child. I am your father. You understand? It's spiritual. I am the Lord thy God. These books in the Bible are written to, for, and about the children of Israel. At the beginning of every one of these chapters, it tells you who it's addressed to and what it's about. Just like if I went in your mailbox and it says, congratulations, you've won $1,000. Congratulations, you won a car. Congratulations. Or grandma sends a letter that says, hey, baby, I miss you. I'm going to be inviting you to this dinner here. Here's the invitation. Or, hey, baby, we having a bus trip. We're going to go to Atlantic City. Here's your invitation. You understand? Bring Kissy and the kids. You understand? Come on down. All your aunts and relatives, we going to be here. We waiting for you. We love and miss you. If I go in your mailbox and steal your mail, that doesn't mean that the car that you won belongs to me. That doesn't mean the invitation that your mother sent for you, I can now show up with me and my family because I stole your mail. Well, that's what they do with the Bible and try to make the Bible for all people, when all of these records and books in the Bible are addressed specifically to somebody. All of the letters in the New Testament that Paul wrote, they have addressed specifically to the brothers and sisters in that school. The name of who the letter is for is not for everybody to just pick up and read. It's addressed to certain people. You understand? It says, I am the Lord thy God, meaning this God belongs to these children of Israel in the Bible. I'm not everybody's God. It didn't say, I would say, I'm the Lord God. It didn't say just God. It said, thy God. I'm not everybody's God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. That's very important to understand these other scriptures that we go into. Remember, the Bible, this episode is everybody is not my child, which Black parents say all the time. Hispanic parents say all the time. You understand? Exodus 20:5, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. The gods of the other nations of people, we are not to serve them. Why? Because this God in the Bible is our God. We are not to serve Caesar Borgia, that white image of Jesus Christ, and that Roman Christian cross that was a popular execution tool that they executed everybody with. That cross didn't have anything to do with Christ. It was two people getting executed on both sides of him when they crucified him. The Romans would line highways with crosses filled with people lingering and dying tied to wooden crosses. Entire highways of people dying on 9-foot wooden crosses. That was not unique to Christ. That is the worship of another God, just like smoking weed is the worship of another God. Those dreadlocks that you fake Israelites and Rastas have is the worship of another God. Those are not the locks of the Bible. The lock in the Bible are braids or plaits or cornrows. Those dreadlocks are East Indian customs from the worship of the Hindu goddess Shiva, which is where you get your ganja plant from India and your smoking weed, which is also where you get your opium and your heroin and Percocets from, that a good percentage of our people serve that God as well, popping all the goddamn Percocets, shooting the heroin, being on opioids, you understand, drinking SHALAM, which is liquid heroin. These things are the worship of other gods. You understand? The same drinking SHALAM we did in ancient Egypt, getting high, strung out in the ghetto under oppression of another nation of people. You understand? We live in the same life all throughout the Bible that we live in right now. You understand? So he said, don't serve the other gods. Allah is the God of the Arabs. It's a rock. That rock you circling in Mecca, that is Allah. You understand? In the Bible, Allah was Baal, the weather god. You understand? Or Zeus, the father of gods, if you were Greek. All of these come from the same idols that are mentioned about in the Bible. You understand? It says, for I, the Lord thy God, again, your God, am a jealous God, a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me. How do you know who hates the Lord? Well, love is to keep the commandments. 1 John 5:3. So if you break God's commandments, then you don't love the Lord, and you, by default, hate the Lord. Who and what you love determines who and what you hate. Love and hate are complementary of each other. You understand? You cannot have one without the other. What you love determines what you do not love. It's very simple. You understand? And it says, your fathers, you will be punished for the sins that your fathers do. the previous generation or the fathers of our people sold drugs. They sold crack and weed, not every single one, but it was a generational thing that exploded amongst our community. And generations later, we have the children that are suffering from the iniquities that the fathers did. All of this culture of being a gangster and a murderer, shooting up the community and flashing, throwing gang signs, red versus blue, east, south, north versus west, accepting Islam and bringing that into our community. Then the Arabs was able, and the Nation of Islam, and accepting the civil rights movement and out-sharped, and they were able to flood dope and heroin into all of our communities. Generations later, the children are still suffering from that. That's exactly what it says in the Bible. Exodus 15:26, and he said, if thou wilt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, meaning this God belongs, this is your God, not everybody's God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, his laws, his orders, his rules. It's not 10 commandments. There are over 600 laws, statutes, and commandments in the Bible. You understand? And keep his statutes. I will put none of these diseases upon thee. The Lord is putting diseases on our people. That's why we have high blood pressure and asthma and scouts and gout and strokes and heart attacks and fibroids and thyroids and all of these different things and COVID. The Lord is putting all these diseases that we were never supposed to get sick or have any illnesses, period. High blood pressure, none of these things we were supposed to have, but we disobeyed the Most High, which is why it's saying, I'm talking to my children. I'm going to punish you if you don't do what I say. Not all people. It says, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that healeth thee. Meaning the Lord is the one that heals our people. Exodus 4:22, and thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son. Who are the children of God? Israel. That's the Lord's son. Not all people, not everybody. Israel is my son, even my firstborn. Israel was a man, Jacob, his name was changed to Israel. We are the sons of Jacob, which is what it means, the son of. He had 12 sons. Those 12 sons today, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, these are our forefathers. You understand? Israel is my son. Not all people, not Ham, not Egypt, not Ethiopia, not Esau, not all people on the world. Ye are all my sons. Israel is my son. The Israelites are the children of God. That's why it's written there. Every word, everything in the Bible is written, and it is important. You've never been taught how important words are in the Bible, because the Christian church has everybody singing and repeating phrases over like the blood of Jesus and give it to God, and Jesus take the wheel, that mean absolutely nothing and solve none of our problems and leave us poor and destitute without an identity, looking for some place to belong. You understand? That's how we end up in gangs and in America's military, only to find out that they don't love Blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, in America's politics and government, just to find out that you're not welcome there, in the police force, just to find out that if you are a Black officer in Louisiana that even tases a white suspect, like white officers are allowed to kill and execute Black and Hispanic suspects. But if you are a Black officer in Louisiana, you will go to jail for tasing a white suspect. They just arrested a brother in Louisiana who's a police officer, which is also against God and a sin, which we are not permitted to do, joining the other nations of people, their government, their military, their police force, making a covenant with them, swearing to uphold their rules and laws in their government. That is against the Most High. You understand? That's against Christ. You understand? So the Lord is saying here, Israel is my firstborn. There is no equality. All nations belong separate like God intended from the very beginning. Since the days of Moses, since the days of Babylon, since the days of Noah, since the days of Adam, since Christ's time, the Lord wanted all people separate. Zechariah 2:7, deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon, because we are leaving with another nation of people, the daughter of Babylon. Babylon, which we were just talking about, is where all nations of people were gathered together and spoke the same language. God separated all people and made different races out of all people that were together. That one human family nonsense that they try to teach you when they want to steal your community or open up a garden or gentrify your city or your land so that they can exploit you to push their political agenda, just like they did with Black women with the feminist movement, just like they did with Black people with the gay lives and gay rights and LGBT rights movement, by suckering you into protesting for that Black Lives Matter movement that was all a white movement, so that you and your sympathy and your desire to join your oppressor and hold hands, like God said never to do, are able to be taken for a sucker every time they need you. Every time they need your votes or some blood, or to abort your baby so that they can take your aborted baby cells and do some things to make life better for their people, to do stem cell research and do everything and sell your kidney and fetus cells for Ferraris and Rolls Royces and houses, which is exactly what Planned Parenthood does. They exploit you, which again is why God said for us to be separate. It says, deliver thyself that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. America is the daughter of Babylon. It's going to get you specifically. For thus saith the Lord of hosts. The word host means armies. After the glory hath he sent unto me the nations which spoiled you. All of the other nations have spoiled you. The East Indians, the Elamites, they get rich off of our brothers and sisters. That's why they open Dunkin' Donuts and 7-Elevens all in the ghetto, all in your community. That's why they rule over the plantations all throughout the West Indies and Jamaica and Trinidad. The British put them in charge of the former plantations so that they can get rich off of us. They work together. That's why America goes to war for 20 years with the Arabs and then gives Arabs all of the government benefits and wicked welfare and TANF that you have to sit in social services and fill out 1,000 sheets of paper for. They don't even have to learn English. They don't need birth certificates, social security cards, background checks. They're not asking, well, who is your father? Well, just say any man's name that you had sex with that might be the father, and then we'll give you social services. Then we can put him on child support, whether he's the father or not. Just give out some names. They don't do that to the Afghans or the Koreans or the Vietnamese or any of the other people that America went to war with and then dropped them to sit over the top of Black people. All throughout Central and South America, the Asians and Arabs are getting rich, feeding off of our people while we struggle and die and fight and kill each other over scraps in gangs and drug cartels. And they frown up their nose and look down upon our people like, look at these filthy slaves. They can't get themselves together. They work together, and America is at the center of making sure these things happen, because this is how all of the nations get rich. This is how China and Korea get nuclear weapons, from selling wings and carryouts to get 10 grand a piece from all the carryouts in the ghetto, selling Black hair care products to Black women and sisters who feel of horrible low self-esteem and don't want to wear their own natural hair because America had us integrate. And now our standard of beauty is another nation's, doing all the nails and feet and manicure and pedicure because all of our shops and businesses failed. And I want to just make sure and clarify that, because we had our own hair products, our own hair salon, our own hairstyles. You understand? Not every brother and sister has an afro. It's not a sin for you to wear a wig. It's not a sin for you to want to wear different types of things and weaves and things in your hair. That is not a sin to do. What I'm highlighting is saying that for a reason, is because these nations were able to exploit our people's businesses failing so that they can come now and corner a market to make sport or merchandise over our people because our businesses fail. We made our own hair, did our own hairstyles, our own hair care products. We made our own shoes, all of that before integrating. Now Nike gets $300 for a pair of LeBrons or a pair of Kobe's or Jordans whenever they see fit from every Black, Hispanic, Native American. $300 for shoes that we used to make for ourselves because our businesses failed. That's why the Lord said to stay separate. This is exactly who it's talking about. The nations have spoiled you, for he that toucheth you Only the children of Israel, not all people, touch of the apple of my eye. Is showing again that this is personal to me. These children are personal to me. You understand? I am the Lord thy God. You understand? I'm not all people's God. I'm the God of the children of Israel. I'm not everybody's parent. Everybody is not my child. That's why I keep saying the Lord thy God all throughout the Bible. Now, Exodus chapter 3 and verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children, these are my children. Israel is my firstborn, the apple of my eye. O children of Israel, against the whole family, meaning this is one family of people. This is not written to all people. The Bible is not for all people. Against the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known. I only deal with you. You are my children. Of all the families of the earth, out of all the families, the Africans have different families. You understand? The Ethiopians are of the families of Ham. They are Cushites. The South Africans, the Canaanites, the Philistines, those are of the families of Ham. Put, the families of Ham. You understand? Canaan, the families of Ham. The families of Shem, the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs. The Elamites, the families of Elam. You understand? Pharaoh, Mizraim, those are families of Ham. Moab, these are Shemites. Moab, the so-called Chinese. Ammon, the so-called Japanese. The Moabites, the so-called Koreans. These are different families. The Japhethites, the Polynesians, the Aborigines, the Eskimos. These are the different families of the earth. Esau is a family of the earth, or the Edomites. You got Teman, the Germans, which is a family of the Edomites. Amalek, the Jewish man, a family of the Edomites. You understand? These are the different families of the earth. Out of all the families of the earth, the God of this Bible only deals with this one family. All people are not my children. I'm not everybody's parent. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Everybody's not my child. I'm not going to beat everybody. I'm going to beat you. You're my child. I'm your parent. Everybody's not my child. That is what this is saying. You see this all over the Bible, but because we've been raised in Christianity, none of the Bible ever makes sense to us. That's why it's written and recorded here like this, all right? Tune in for another episode of The Bible is Black. You understand? Stay tuned. I.S.U.P.K, Virginia. Shalom.
With my homies, the niggas is right there. Every day a pair of black boots, sometimes I switch it to night airs. Niggas everywhere like broke glasses, just like air. Me against the hottest that you know there's a sight there. How you the coolest motherfucker that's mad hot? Always stay on my groove, on the move like a laptop. Teacher schooling the youngest, you get shot by a black cop, white cop, Sasquatch, foot on your neck. Anything you set your hands to do, just do it the best. I told you I'm the illest lyricist, I prove it to death. If you ain't standing up for niggas, then you mute or you deaf. I got some niggas in the grave that could be using your breath. And that's a fact, it's not a 2 Chainz quote. I break a record, fuck a track up like I'm Usain Bolt. These little rapping niggas, they garbage, B. Pardon me, it's the odd me. They talking